bored of me yet. We're back. For round 2. Ding 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 ding. Shows how well prepared I am. My Beic computer has run out of battery. Big day this. Well, I think I've had bigger. This is only 2 hours worth of bike riding. In fact, less than that actually. I think. I'm not actually doing a lot of riding yet. Alright. Oh, it's cold in here. How did I get on the first stream? Yeah, we got first race we got 23rd or 24th. Second race was 9th. And then the last race was like another 20 something. So it was alright. It was alright. I was pleasantly surprised by the second race. The hills. I actually found them quite cool. And the final race, I actually really liked that, to be honest. I don't know how I will go this afternoon in these though, because carrying a little bit of fatigue from this morning. Not much, but enough that might like take the snap out of my legs. But really, I'm just coming to learn a bit more about the courses and just to see if I can put what I learned from this morning into a bit of action. So. Much smaller group than this morning, but not short of strong riders. You can see a few American riders in this one as well, obviously being a little bit behind this time wise. Different strategy to this morning, I imagine you're asking, Zeke. If so, then yes. Well, to be honest, I just want to see if I can like put into action what I learned this morning, if I have the legs. I don't feel great at my legs, but luckily this first race is a bit easier. I don't know, Phil. I'm not sure. Yeah, you and me the same, man. Head for the win. Yeah, my follower of the channel and buddy Jason Osborne, former world Zwift indoor world champion this year. we're not actually allowed to use race mode in the Worlds, FYI. Oh, my legs feel very sore. Very sore. Even that hurt more than it should. I've no idea, Zeke, no idea. You would think if everyone's on the same trainer, but maybe they're still ironing out wrinkles with it. I'm not sure. I'm hoping that this big effort at the end of this race will hopefully kick my legs into gear, because they feel very like lethargic. Usually sometimes a little high cadence helps as well. Because as some of you will see, the second race is not the type of race where you want bad legs. There's about 200 of you watching this morning, so it's nice that there's a different mix of you watching this afternoon. Yeah, you can't really base it off a heart rate too much, especially as I'm getting more fatigued. That heart rate's going to start to come down, but we'll see the final effort really. Did about 670 watts for 40 seconds this morning, so yeah, yeah, without a doubt, Ben. I think there's less people in this group though than there was this morning. It was a bigger group this morning. We've got some American riders in here as well, because it fits better with the time zone, I'm sure. I was saying this morning how, like those of you that don't live in the UK, how these climbs are actually very, very close to what you would experience in the UK. Especially the second race, which you'll see soon. Lots of like, you know, hitting a steep wall and then it shallows off massively. Hit the steep wall, shallows off. And there's a lot of like fumbling around with your gears to try and find that place you actually want to be in. Alright, different approach to this morning's race. I'm going to try and be, well, you'll see. I'll explain afterwards. A little bit more patient here, less fighting for the front and more just chilling out a bit. And not panicking. This isn't the Worlds. So if it goes wrong, it doesn't matter. So let's see here. The gear I'm in. Okay, less of a panic here now. Chill, chill, chill. Ooh. Oh. Oh no. Legs are like jelly. Ooh. Alright. That one didn't go very well. That one didn't go very well. Yeah, I started further back, but then everyone popped a burrito, and then I was stuck where I was. So, I don't think that is the way. I don't know. Difficult to tell. But that wasn't as good as this morning's. Although I didn't have the legs, I definitely didn't feel right doing that effort. I got like halfway through it and I was like, I got to that little flat bit and I couldn't maintain it. So this morning we did 6.75 for 40 seconds, and we were sitting on about 6.11 for 30, and then I parked. So I did not have it there. Yeah, so basically what I did this morning was a better tactic than what we did there. But that's the whole point of this. The whole point of it is to, like, rather than obviously, well, we don't have the robots anyway to just walk away with it, but just like out on the road sometimes, if you have, sometimes if you're not as strong as the other riders, which in this case is somewhat true, then you have to start to use, you have to work out the tactics a bit better. So in this situation, what I did this morning worked better than what I did there. So interesting takeaway. Yeah, it's tricky, Mick, because obviously when you're going max, you're then going to reach and pop your burrito. That's why it's easier to hit it as you start your all-out effort, isn't it? Because if you have to like pause your effort to hit that button, even if it's just for half a second. I'm going to stick with what we learned from the race this morning, but we'll see. Oh. Obviously there's a few things contributing to maybe how I'm feeling now, and that's obviously this morning's efforts, but also small recovery window, big meal as well, timings, everything else. Obviously I wouldn't usually be eating a full Sunday lunch 2 hours before. It's just quite fast spin diesel, so it's because it's so fast, there's not really much dynamic racing, to be honest. It just shells people until you get to a sprint. Do I train on the road? Yes, I train more on the road than I do indoors. No, what I mean by eating the food, it's not the weight, guys. It's the fact that when you consume food, obviously your body then has to send blood supply and everything to your stomach to start to break it down and obviously do its job. So if you then go to exercise, it's taking away blood from muscles. So like that's why there's a lot of you know, people that say don't stop at a cafe and eat food because it interrupts the physiological things that are happening when you're out on the road. But you know, at the end of the day, as long as you're not having like a full English breakfast or something, it should be pretty okay. Yeah, same this morning, Teppo, yeah. No, they're not invite only, David, no. Thank you, David. Now this one should be a little bit better. This was my best race from this morning, so it should be the better of my efforts, but who knows? The thing I always keep reminding myself as well is that, say for example, you know, like, you know, there's a training effect from doing this as well. So it's, even though, like, you know, I could be like beating myself up for that effort we've just done now at the end of that first race, and saying like, you know, Ed, that's not good enough, you know, you need to be better than that, and you need to do better, you need to position yourself, blah blah blah. It doesn't actually matter, because the training effect, I'm still getting the training effect. So the positive spin on it is always, I'm on the bike, I'm doing the effort, so regardless of the outcome, I'm still banking it. So, you know, if I was out on the road now, for example, on a group ride, I wouldn't be doing this. There's always a flip side. I was actually quite surprised. Those of you that watched the stream this morning, I was quite surprised at what actually happened in the second race this morning. We the race exploded the first time up, you know, up this KOM, whatever it is, and the race just, like, I was very surprised at how quickly people were going backwards when you consider how strong people are at the end of, you know, first race. Obviously big smash at the finish, but you've always got to be careful about comparing yourself to other people, especially when it's just a one-off effort. And then when you do a race where it requires, you know, multiple efforts, or when you do a race when it's going uphill, even for a minute or two, this one is only like a 3 or 4 minute climb, but you'd be surprised how quickly it treads the field. And this morning that was quite surprising, because I based my perception of the quality of the field, I'd based on the first race, or the results of the first race. So when I saw how small the group was in the second race, the second time up the climb, for example, I was like, you know, it like resets your perception of, you know, your performance, the race itself, the tactics, everything. So yeah. Really interesting how, you know, sports psychology works like that. Afternoon, Gareth. Head's hurting it out. I will speak quietly for you, Gareth. I will speak quietly. Feeling good for Thursday. What's happening on Thursday? You mean Saturday? This is the second race, Kev. We just finished the first race of the 3. So this is a carbon copy of this morning's races. Anyway, minute to go. Need to do my shoes up tighter. I could definitely feel a bit of movement in that last race. Yeah, me too, Felix, yeah. Okay, we learned something about the anvil this morning, so definitely change the way we race because of that. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but you know, sometimes when people deploy power-ups, you get a little bit of FOMO, and you chuck down your power-up as well because you're worried. It might be if it makes a reappearance out of my mouth, Aiden, yeah. I'm feeling a little bit blocked. Sunday lunch has done its job. no, I'm not going to Glasgow for a number of reasons. Just the whole like pain in the backside side of it, plus Wi-Fi and everything. You just don't trust it yet, so I'm going to stay at home. Sorry to all the Edmode fans. A couple of people did reach out and ask if I was going, so thank you. But no, I'm not. Yeah, combination of a strong field and I'm tired. Don't laugh. Got to do this all again tomorrow. Ian. You already know what it is, Tommy. Small group. The descent earlier in this was way more mental. Oh yeah! I like this power up. I'm in a breakaway, what the heck? Mad. Save me a bit of energy anyway. It is exactly like that. It's not really helped. That is a joke. That's an equal part fatigue, equal part fitness apparently. 2 days off for the Worlds. I'll be reaching 180 and I'll be absolutely pinging. Hopefully. Ooh. That's the only peak I'll need. I'll just need a bit of freshness and I'll have all that snap to my disposal. Yeah, done it different to this time around this morning, and it actually paid off by finishing one place higher, so we're learning slowly. We're nowhere near like riders who are, well, saying that nowhere near, it's like a couple of seconds away from a top 5. That's not really, it's the only gap that I'm losing is in that final 30 seconds when they just go to like 13-14 watts per kilo. And the way my physiology is, it's the same with the hill climbs, we've seen it before in outdoors. Once I'm empty, I can't accelerate, and it's those riders there where you see where they've got that snap there, even at the end of an effort like that, you know, lots and lots of red, and then they just sprint, and I'm like, well, I can't sprint, like I'm already going, like this is the best as I can do. So it's something that I obviously want to change, and I am working to change, but you've got to be very patient with things like that. You know, you're talking months, potentially years to try and get to that level, or try and, you know, improve those little things, especially when you're already in that top 1%. You know, it's like there's people who are obviously genetically gifted as well, and there's people who have to work for it. So I'm certainly in that other category, as much as it probably doesn't seem that way, but yeah, I'm just very, very patient at working with it. For riders like that, if you lift the tempo throughout, can you sap their legs? Well, no, David, because they can just draft. You know. It doesn't work like that. The only way it would work like that is if you were going uphill for a constant, you know. So if you were, what I can do is I suppose you know, I've got a super high lactate threshold, so what I can do is I can go to that lactate threshold, which would be close to 6 watts per kilo, and then I can snap, come back, snap, come back, snap, come back. But if you talk about riding at VO2 max and then going over it to absolutely empty yourself, that's something that's one of my weaknesses, and that's no secret anyway. But yeah, how many years of training have I been training? Like 12 years. But even that's not long enough, you know. It really isn't. You've only got to look at the likes of, you know, Mathieu van der Poel and Remco's of the world. And not even them, but like there's kids coming through nowadays who've been, you know, by the time they're 20, they've been riding for like 13 years by the time they're 20. You know, and I'm close to 30 now. So really, the earlier the start, that's the way the that's why I love cycling now. True, but you know, Remco, you could argue, was a genetic, you know, 100% Josh. Tarling's a really good example. Very good example. But yeah, you know, there are outliers, so you can't just say, you know, this rider. But obviously, the earlier you start, the more likely you are to have that background. But yeah, at the end of the day, there's an element of patience in that as well. You know, you've got to be consistent for an awful long time sometimes before you see the breakthrough. You know, I might have started cycling when I was 15-ish, But it wasn't until I was like 24, 25 when I started to find this ability to climb better than most, or ability to ride at lactate threshold and have a relatively high watts per kilo. So it took 10 years virtually. That took 10 years. Now maybe I'm a slow developer, which might well be true, but we're talking too much science, and I wouldn't be able to know if I was a slow developer or not, And obviously, if you're exposed to racing, and that's why Zwift is awesome, I think. If you're exposed to racing really young, that can just accelerate things as well. So, telling us 90 kilos is normal to do 500 watts. Well, that's it, David. And even if you just enjoy cycling for what it is, until he's like 15, 16, then, he's still been riding a bike, He's still been riding a bike. No, he's not 90 kilos, Josh. No, he's probably closer to 80 or so. What's the plan to get through the first round? Big sprint. Big sprint, and then try and sprint harder than that big sprint on top of that sprint. I remember that one, Kev. Yeah, I remember that one. I was in that not in that Commonwealth Games. I did the National Championships that year when it raced around there, and it was a nasty course. And I got dropped on the hill. And just pulled out. So I think I didn't even last 20 miles. I was out the race. And that was probably when was I like 19, 20 years of age then? Sprint and more sprint. Sprinty, sprint. Yeah, true, Emma, true, yeah. It does come down to the location a lot of the time, doesn't it? Like, things with the valleys is, I suppose it's very difficult because obviously you're in a valley and you're surrounded by valleys. But yeah, for instance, around here we've got the facilities of like the Pembrey Circuit, we've got cycle paths, we've got closed road circuits, we've got off-road stuff. And location plays a big part in it. Yeah, but Josh, there'll come a point where that won't happen, And the thing is, it's freaking hard, but like, it could be 4 years from now, or it could be, it could be in gym. It's tough, isn't it? It's tough. It's why it's one of the toughest sports, because like, there's very few people who just win, or dominate, or there's very few people who just constantly are the rider that's watched. I think there's an element of that, like, even at the highest level, like even recently with the Cyclocross World Championships, and Tom Pidcock didn't show up to the Worlds. And there's a lot of people there who are there to cheer on the British riders, and Tom, whether or not he chose to do it, whether the team chose to pull him away from it, but like, obviously in cycling there's a lot of tradition, and you want to try and maintain that tradition, but also he has to go off and do what's right for him. But in that situation, like Tom, Pidcock is like he's not the talked about rider in that race, is he? It's like, it's the Wout van Aert and Van der Poel show, and it's like, that's quite difficult sometimes. And that, like I said, that happens at that level, and it happens at your level at, you know, national series races or, you know, local crit races nearby. It's like, that happens everywhere. Where you're always like, oh, I'm third again, or I'm fourth again, or I'm 10th again, or like, even if you're just trying to break into the top 10. Yeah. Yeah, 100%, Jonas. 100%. Cycling is a sport of losing, and the more you rationalise it, and the more you're able to rationalise it and twist it so you're capable of like being not happy with losing, but you're able to lose to eventually win, or lose to, you know, get a podium or whatever it may be. You know, that's the key, really. Yeah. At some point, you'll find yourself in a situation where you might be off the front in a breakaway. The bunch is mistimed in. There's 3 of you in a breakaway, and you're like, crap, I wasn't prepared for this. And you're like, I wasn't prepared for it, but now I'm in a position where I can win. You know, it's a 1 out of 3 chance I'm going to win this. So it's like, can happen anytime, anywhere. Yeah. Anyway. Let's do some more sprinting. was a bit of a surprise, to be honest. Oh yeah, I love how this race could be very aggressive if there's only 10 riders. We've just demonstrated that there very slightly with just a few of us. That's really cool. Got to try and sort that chain jump out. That's really difficult to judge. Thanks for watching, everyone. We've surpassed the live viewers that we had this morning, so thank you for tuning in this afternoon. Kind of. Are you sure, Teppo? I went back and watched this morning's stream. You can definitely see how long the effort is for the sprint if you start from like way back there. It's like a good 40-second sprint. See you later. That's weird. The burrito took me out the back. Yeah, you did well, Temple. Fair play. No. A lot of gear jumping. Jason, dude, you're gonna win anyway. If you'd have just given me a little pull there, you wouldn't have beaten me in a sprint. I was willing to keep, I would have ridden for second. I'm not gonna beat you in a sprint. And I lost out on the podium there. I was all in for that third. It's not Jason's fault. It's just in that situation, it's easier out on the road because you can communicate, but like, oh. When you know someone who's with you is out and out gonna win, sometimes it's worth riding with them, like I rode with Jason there, because the chances are, you know, I might get 20th in the sprint, but I'm nailed on for like a top 4 there. Well, I finished 4th, but like, you know, frustrated that I couldn't just hang on to that 3rd place. I was literally just falling off the edge of a cliff in that last 30 seconds. It's good effort from the rider who picked me there. Flipping heck. Made him mad with the burrito. Well, you know, you've got to use it at the end of the day, you know. I'm not stronger than him, so I've got to use it. But, you know, me and Jason, we know each other, so I'm pretty sure he would have taken that lightly. Me dropping a burrito on him is more like a mercy. It's a mercy, what do you call it? A mercy power up. I was like, I'm going to use this on you because you're obviously doing more power than me. Just waiting for that Instagram DM from Jason to come through now. I'm glad I could do something at the end there. Obviously my legs started to come back throughout the races. If you saw the first race, I was a little bit like, oh, I wasn't feeling too good. Yeah, I'm quite happy I was able to do something now. Like, that's right. Yeah, Jason's the guy with Alpecin. He was also with Bora, I first met Jason in person at. Do you remember I went out to do the Tour de Stations at Ultra Fondo a couple of years ago? I think it was like, when was it? Was it 2020? I think, or something. And I met him there because he won the Gran Fondo and I was doing the Ultra Fondo. And we chatted for a bit, and I didn't actually realise who it was. And then he introduced himself. And I was like, wait, it all makes sense. And then I think it was later that year, or the year after, he became, obviously, esports world champion. So, yeah. That was my first interaction with Jason Osborne. Ed the Crit Racer. I'm not quite sure I'm the Crit Racer. But no, I'm quite chuffed with the way that played out there at the end, that last lap. It was an interesting little move. Obviously, I was a bit more active in that race than I was this morning, and I don't know. I don't know, to be honest, but it feels like that course might be able to reward riders who are quite active. It seems to wear the group down a lot quicker. So they're certainly a lot quicker than Crit City. Yeah, that's right, Teppo. Yeah. No, you're right. Totally right, because of course, in the World Championships on Saturday, you know, it'll be a much smaller group. And a situation like that might actually work. You know, if there's like 3 of you, for example, away, you know you're taking the podium spot, and then if you take the podium spot away from everybody else, then it's just a fight between you 3 when it matters. So that's why it could be a very interesting final race next Saturday, if we get there. I've never ridden Perths, Josh. No, I've never ridden it. I think mainly because it's full of crosswinds, isn't it? And it's it was always known as like a really not dodgy, no. I don't mean dodgy as in the way you think I mean it. Dodgy as in like, because it's usually the first road race in the UK of the year. It does tend to be a little bit sort of twitchy and dodgy in a sense that it could be a couple of crashes in it. So the Sunday lunch effect has been wearing off race by race. It has indeed, Emma. Yeah, thankfully the race is on a Saturday, so there won't be a Saturday lunch. Yeah. What time's the race? I'm not 100% sure. I would imagine it's about 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A time that kind of suits, obviously, the whole world. So, yeah. Let's have a look at this power graph then. Won't keep you much longer. Super Bowl night tonight. It's just popped up on my Windows. I would have known it was. Yeah, I would have known. I don't follow it, but much better. I tell you what, it got really, really grippy towards the end when it was just me and Jason at the end. That last half a lap where we crested the big climb, and in my head I was like, I've got to keep on the wheel. Because if I lose the wheel, then I lose the draft, and then it's doubly tough. But like, as well, the last 600 meters when the guy caught us, went straight over the top, which was a great move because it kind of catches us unawares. But obviously I was looking behind, so I could see him coming. But that was the same situation. I was like, I've got to snap. I've got to get on that. I've got to make sure that I don't lose that draft, because I'll just be fighting. I'll just be pushing wind myself. So it was kind of there was a couple of battles going on in my head. Like, got to get on that wheel. And I've not had that feeling sometimes, like since I've been out racing, when you're trying to follow that wheel, someone's stronger than you, and you're just trying to follow that wheel, and like sometimes the push that you get, or that motivation that gives you, to try and hold that wheel is massive. So, yeah, thanks, Jason. Yeah, I know, Mark. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Marcel, buying cheap quote 25mm GP5000 or pay like $30 more. I gotta be honest, I don't ride 25mm tires anymore. I ride 28mm tires at a minimum. I've just moved on, and I really like 28s. But yeah, make sure they fit in your frame. That's a good shout there, Darren. Make sure they would fit in your frame. If you're running rim brake, for example, but yeah, I much prefer 28s, just the way they feel, and they do feel different, I think, between 25 and 28s. Why don't I take some type of carbs? Good question. I did have a biggish meal about 2 hours before, and all of these races combined are like about an hour's worth of racing, so don't really need to restock. It's short enough. It's more about what I eat before and what I eat after, really. So yeah, although I did race this morning as well. So anyway, critical power. Oh, that was a rather tasty 4-minute effort. No, hang on. See, I wish they'd put the grey and the orange box like at the top of the graph so it didn't collide. So I'm pretty close. It's like there, isn't it? The 28. So there it is. About 15 watts. 15 watts off 4 minutes 16. 15 watts off 4 minutes 16. Oof. Oof, crikey. Not bad after a full day. Let's put that on top of the line so you have no idea what you're looking at as Zwift logic. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. They're right over the line, so you can't see a thing, can you? Anyway, they give you a nice thing to screenshot at the end. Alright, chat. thanks for tuning in to this afternoon's live stream, and if you were here for this morning's as well, fair play. You've really doubled up. So thanks for the support. Yeah, T-minus 6 days. Saturday, make a note of it, the Zwift Worlds. I can't stream it for obvious reasons, but I might record it and then do like a breakdown video, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But it's a great confidence booster today, and yeah, hopefully I can get Mac to like making some YouTube videos more regularly, more regular. Yeah, whatever. I hope I can make like the usual videos, but I'm so consumed with the live streams and the Zwift and the World Championships that this has taken center stage. So I hope you you understand that. But yeah, you do, because you're here for the live stream. So that's all from me. I will see you very soon. Have a good evening. Have a good day wherever you are. I will catch you in the next one.